Welcome back, everyone. This is the Game One Loves Forever. And on today's episode, I am going to answer all of your questions that have been either text to me or talk to my buddies or just kind of questions around golf that anytime with my friends or, some people have asked me on Instagram and whatnot, some questions. So I just kind of wrote them all down and wanted to get into them today. So, so kind of how it's going to go is I'm just going to say the question and then I'll give my opinion and you can agree or disagree, but I'd love to see what you guys think or what your comments are on each one. So, we'll get right into it. I mean, I don't like wasting any time, so let's go. All right, so question 1 is why do I hit perfect on the range and then lose it on the course? So, I would say a lot of people have this issue where they're even when you warm up before a round, right? You get in, you get a small bucket, and you just start hitting away at the range, and you're just striping them. You're puring it. You're feeling good. I always say it gives you a false sense of hope one way or the other, and I think I think the real reason is one, once you get into the course, there's pressure. Where on the driving range, there's really no pressure to start, and then also if you're hitting off mats, sometimes it gives you a false connection in a sense. So like if you are swinging and you hit the turf, if you hit the turf behind the ball, then you will basically still make good contact, but it will be a duff or a chunk, and more like a chunk in on the course. So that's could be one reason why. But let's say if you're hitting the driver perfectly on the range, I would say that's probably just because on the range you're more loose, you're more, you're just swinging away and not really thinking about anything. But once you get on that course, then then every stroke counts, right? So you might get a breakfast ball, a lunch ball, but it's it's go time, right? Every stroke counts. So it could be something more stress related or just pressure, not stress, but pressure, right? Because you're playing a game or just for yourself. If you're competitive, you want every swing to hit, you want to hit well on every swing. But you also, if you are that competitive, you want to, I don't know, outdrive your friends or hit it close to the pin. There's multiple things that can cause the reason why you're not hitting as good. And really, you just want to, I would say, to kind of alleviate that would be just remember the tempo you were hitting on the range. So if you have a 1, 2, 3 kind of backswing, just remember that tempo throughout your whole round. And I think that'll alleviate it. If it is chunk related, then it's just contact. I don't, I guess go see your local pro or a buddy that's really good and can teach you how to swing and hit better contact. I mean, um, but if you're slicing them on the range and slicing them on the course when you're actually counting them, then I'd say, the good news is you're consistent. That's what I would say. So, but yeah, I mean, I would just, depending on what it is, just keep that tempo or just try to make better contact when you're on the range. And if it is on a mat, then just try to remember, like, feel the ball first. If you feel ground and kind of like you feel like you drop kicked it, then I would say that's gonna be a chunk on the course. But those are just like, you know, little things. I think that's an easy one to fix. Just really, I would say tempo, take care of it. Number 2, how do I stop rushing my backswing? Again, that's, I think that's something we talked about last episode with Rich, where there's a guy out there who actually pauses at the top of his swing. So that just kind of tells you that the momentum is not all about how fast you can whip it back. I mean, I know you see the long drive guys and everyone who hits hard, they have like this nice whip back, but I don't think that's the end all be all. I even saw something I don't recently, and it was a pro or someone, whoever was teaching it, whatever he was saying. He was saying start from where you have the ball at address or have the club at address, and then you do your follow through swing with that and kind of feel that motion, because I think sometimes we are so worried about the takeaway and how fast it is, how slow it is. Can I get enough power? Can you get around the ball? Can you bring it back down to the slot? All those things until up until you hit the ball. And really, I would say, like kind of what that guy said, is like the important part is too, what do you do after you hit the ball? After, because I do always say, and if I see people who I'm playing with and they're just kind of hitting the ball, like they're just all they care about is hitting the ball. And that's not what we want to do, because if you're just hitting the ball, then you're just striking the ball. It will go anywhere. You could pull it. You could, a lot of people slice it when they're just trying to hit the ball because they're not coming around on it. Right. And I'm not a professional, but that's just what I see. I'm in a 10 handicap. So, but little things like that you can fix. And, I think it's good to, just take a really slow backswing, and then all that whip forward is really where you get the power. Because I've tried to pause before too, just to see. I mean, you definitely have to work at it, but I would say that just count if you're really, really worried about it, just count to 3. Take your backswing in a 1, 2, 3, and then go. If you're really trying to slow it down. But I've found that even when I slow down my swing, or at least my backswing, I hit just as well, if not further, or at least more consistent, but further, right? So, um, yeah, I mean, you could do the pause thing. That would be crazy, just to I don't know, get the tempo down. But yeah, that'd probably be what my suggestion would be, is just a count to 3. And if you're doing any faster or slower, then fix it. But just count to 3 in your backswing, and then go from there. If you are still slicing, then think about also the follow through after contact, because I think that's a huge thing that people, you think you're just hitting the ball and you're not. It's a full swing. Like I tell people to swing through the ball rather than being the ball as your end point. So if you're really looking to slow down your swing at all, I would just do a nice tempo and don't worry about distance. That's what I would say. Don't worry about distance. Just, is it going straight? And that's all you care about. And then you can add speed later. So, all right. Question number 3. Is buying a new driver, this is on equipment, is buying a new driver actually going to help? I see, even I deal with this one because, I mean, I want to get a new driver. Sometimes I feel like, oh, maybe I'd be more consistent, or maybe I wouldn't need to swing as hard, or maybe, I don't know, just whatever you can talk yourself into as a golfer to try to get a new driver, right? Because I mean, it's fun. It's nice. It's nice when you get a new driver, then you can hit it. And then if you hit it far, then it's like worth all the money. But then that's the thing too. It's expensive, right? Uh, I'm torn, because I feel like if you hit your driver anything over 250 to 270, you're probably fine. You're probably gonna get much more out of a driver. Maybe the one thing is I've never been fitted for a driver. I've just actually tweaked my own feel, because as I've said before, I'm a huge feel person. So if I just bought like different shafts, different lengths, uh, different degree, but it's kept the same head. I use a Cobra driver, and I've just kind of tinkered myself. I maybe I'd do better as if I got fitted. But one thing that I didn't like about fitting, I mean, I got fitted for irons and stuff, and my 3-wood. But the weird thing is, I would hit my driver on where I was getting fitted, and I could see, and it's one where you could still see you were actually hitting into like you're hitting into a real driving range. But it was also on a simulator because they were tracking it for you. And like, I know I can hit like 270, even, here on the simulator, I've hit 300 before. But for some reason, when I would hit my own driver, when I was kind of getting fitted or tested, I was hitting my own driver and it wasn't going 250. I mean, it's barely clearing 250. you know, 270 like after roll. So I was just like, I don't know. That seems a little weird because in real life, like I can bomb it. But yeah, so that's why it kind of threw me off. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to get fitted. Plus, like with my swing speed, he was giving me everything like low spin driver, low spin, 3 wood, and it just doesn't kind of fit my swing. I need something that it because I did do a driver with low spin and I could not hit that thing. Like it just threw off my weight. So I went back to not a low spin, but like the max, like where the weights are in the back, or the one weight in the front, one weight in the back, rather than all in the front. So I mean, so things like that, like even if you're a fast swinger, like maybe the low spin doesn't work for you, like it doesn't work for me. So really, you just kind of got to play around with it. Unfortunately, is it's an expensive thing to play around with. Anywhere from 500 to plus, up there, thousands, which I would never do. And I mean, uh, I usually, even my driver now, I waited 2 years or 1 or 2 years after it came out so I could buy it. So I just get that driver head and then changed it with my old shaft and just kind of went from there. So, um, do I think it will help? Maybe. I wish I could give a definitive answer. If you have a really old one, let's say if you don't have anything from, I don't know, 2005, no, I gotta say anything from like 2020, because you could find those things for like $200. I know not everyone has $200 to spend, but you could find one. You get with a buddy. Like I had an old driver that was a 2021 model, and I let my buddy borrow it. Uh, so there's definitely ways you can get new drivers, but I would say if you do have an old one, just get a new one, or within the last 5 years, and that technology is most likely going to be okay for you. So, um, again, I mean, it's yeah, it's like this thing says, most of the time, no, it's not going to make you any better. You just gotta fix your swing essentially, but at least get into the 2020s and up, or earlier or later. I don't know how you say it, but 2020 to 2025 models. And then you at least know you're within the right era of technology. And then you can go from there. So, and if you're still not hitting it well, then just got to work. You got to hit the range and work on your swing. Find a TikTok or one of those swing coaches online. Jeez, just spit over there. But yeah. And then question 4: are rangefinders worth it for casual golfers? Because I get a lot of guys who are like, oh, do I need a rangefinder? I'm like, I would get one. I mean, even if you don't, I mean, I have a watch and I have a rangefinder. I know that's that that new age thing where it's like, oh, it's on your phone. You got the yardage on your phone. You got the yardage on the with the rangefinder, and then you got one on your watch. It's like, I don't trust any of them, but I would definitely get one just so you can know yardages and you start to get to feel, um, just so you can be a little more exact with what you're hitting. So let's say you miss or you don't hit it as far as you thought. Now you know, okay, next time it's a 6 iron instead of a 7 iron, or opposite, or my wedges. I thought I knew about what I could hit them, or I knew my distances, and it seems like they're a little bit longer than I thought. So especially in the summertime, things fly, or the balls fly. So I got to back up, you got to adjust, right? I think golf is like a huge, like, it's like a math game, essentially. It's like, I mean, it's vectors, it's physics, geometry, mathematics, algebra, whatever. It's a little bit of everything to try to get that little ball in the hole. It's so crazy. Like I saw, if your driver's just off, if your driver face is just turned just a little bit, it's like 10 yards off of your middle line, right? So, man, golf is it's a crazy game, but we all love it for some reason. We keep coming back for that abuse. And even if you shoot in the 70s in one round and you come back and you shoot 86 or 90 or whatever, it'll humble you. But yeah, I would say as soon as you can get one, I would do it, even though a little expensive. Again, I think you could, I mean, I got mine from a friend who had one. So I feel like if you can get one on the cheap, then yes, do it. If you had to pay full price, like the 500 or 350, then maybe wait. Um, but I still think it's a good investment to do a $100 watch or something, a Garmin watch, because it's just good to know. Like I really like using my Garmin watch because it gives you it gives you like the front, middle, and back. And what that's good for, in my opinion, is you can like let's say it's 150 to the back, 120 to the middle or to the pin, wherever it is, right? So I would hit my pitching wedge because that usually goes a little bit further than 120, but I know my max is 150. And if I mishit it a little bit, um, it's going to be probably right where I want it. And then if I get it clean, pick it pure, then worst case, it's probably going to end up back of the green. So that's kind of how I like to use it. And cause so like, okay, if I, cause sometimes we're like, oh man, today, if I get a hold of this one, I don't know, or you're unsure. So always kind of think about where that miss is going to be. And that kind of helps. So that's why I would say get a watch, a range, either a watch or a range finder. The watch is a little bit better because it gives you those different numbers, whereas you're gonna have to shoot the back of the green or something towards the back. Then you gotta shoot the pin. Then you gotta shoot the front of the green if there's like a bunker there. So there's just little things that you have to think about. But overall, I do think as soon as you can get one, if you can afford it, get it. So, all right, moving along here. Number 5, how do I stay focused during a bad round? Now, this is a good one. I mean, if you don't, if you're kind of like a high handicap anyway, I mean, no offense to anybody, but like you should just be having fun anyway. I mean, yes, work on your game, but anything that's not like 100% or, you're having a bad day and you're going to, instead of 105, you're going to shoot on 120, like then just focus on things and focus on what you want to work on. So I always tell people like, okay, your driver may not be on today, but don't put it away. I mean, you're not going to shoot your best round anyway. So don't put it away and continue to learn or work on it and or feel, because I even do that when, even around that, maybe I'm just messing around and I know I could maybe break 80, but if I do hit my wedges or chips and I could blade it and I could mess it up, I still do it because I need to learn how to do it because I don't want to be using my putter all the time. One, it's not as consistent, and two, it doesn't look as cool as like bringing out the Texas wedge every time, or you're putting like what 150 yards out because you're afraid to blade it. Yeah, it just doesn't look as cool, right? So I I would say here's a good instance. Like so for me, like one time I was in a tournament and I was playing for something, and I think I was only like um, 7 or 8 over on hole 13, and it was a par 5. And I was like, oh, I'm going to birdie this and then I get on a run and then maybe I can, par out or whatever. Um, but I ended up getting a 9 on that hole. I remember it was, I hit left into the trees and then I was like, okay, I'm just going to punch out. Well, I punched outright and it went too far. Then, I mean, I don't even think I'm gonna be able to get all 9 shots. So I went left, punch to the right. So that's 2. Then 3 was out, I think. So I had to drop. Anyway, I shot a 9. It was horrific, and I was just pissed because it was like, okay, I could have been in the running with 7 because we played in a flight, so I knew that probably like 7 over could be in the running. I think the guy who actually winning was maybe like I want to say 5 over, so I didn't have a chance anyway. But I mean, had I birdied that, it'd be 6 under, and then who knows what I could have done then. But I do know what I could have done then because after that I parred out and I ended with 13 over. or yeah, because I shot 85, I think, or maybe 14 over because I did bogey one hole because I had a par putt and the guy in front of me or one of the guys in my group, he put a pin down or a marker down. And I don't, it was my fault, my dumbass. I said, he's like, oh, which way do you want me to move it? And I'm like, oh, no. I was like, I'm just going to go right over it. And this is for a par putt. And it's probably like, I don't know, 4 feet. And I literally went right over it. And it was one like was mounded. So I should have had him move it. But it, I hit it. And as soon as I hit it, it kicked it directly right. And I was like, fuck. But you know what though? And he was like, oh, my bad, dude. I was like, no, I was like, it's not your fault. I said to keep it there. You did ask. And, but I know he felt bad. And then other than that, that was a bogey. But other than that, I parred out, 14, 15, 16 was a bogey and 17, 18 were pars. And yeah, so I shot 86 and just to show you that you can, even after a bad hole, that you can, just keep it calm. Like, okay, it's a new hole. You can par out. And hardly ever have I ever actually said, okay, if I par, I can par out from here. Does it actually work? But I just stayed calm and kind of just, it's funny. I actually did text my wife and be like, and cause she's like, oh, how's it going? And I said, I actually just blew up on a hole, shot a 9. She's like, oh, well, hang in there. Just breathe, be calm. And I'm like, okay, took a breath. And like she said, I did. And I think I should have almost birdied the next hole. But yeah, to keep it, cool, calm, collective. And even though I knew I wasn't going to be in the running, I just wanted to finish strong for my own, for my own sanity. Right. So, yeah, I would just say if you're not, if you're going to have a blow up round, then maybe pick something that isn't working that day and work on it. Whether it be your driver, 3-wood. Well, 3-wood's hard because you only hit that usually on like 2 holes or so, or 4 holes at best. And yeah, or pitching or putting, focus on a routine for putting or a routine for your irons, whatever it is. So just focus on something in that round that you can get better on. Even let's say if you're slicing your driver, well then for the rest of the round, even though I know I'm slicing it, I'm going to aim way left so that when it slices and comes back as a right-hander, you're kind of more in the fairway, or hopefully in the fairway. So maybe play something like that. So, and then it's a little game. So then it kind of whips back and it's kind of cool because then it looks like you're trying to do that. Well, what you are, but that's not going to be your swing forever, but just to play with what you have for that day. Right. So that can kind of help you keep focused and keep you mentally in the game and kind of still have some fun. And who knows, you might, end up parring or bogeying more holes than you normally do on the, once you do that. So, the next question, is it okay to talk during someone's swing if you're friends? I mean, yes and no, but I mean, it depends on if you guys are playing for like a money game or something like that. Even if you're friends, yeah, no, I would not, just, but if it's a casual round and it's, you're talking, shooting the shit and telling stories or even I've kind of been under the thought of, you can have a conversation like this and then they hit and then you can continue your you can continue your sentence or whatever, your story or whatever you're talking about. And so I didn't glitch there. I just stopped because that's usually what I do. If like I'm walking behind someone and they're starting to swing or get in their routine, I'll stop and then I'll continue my story once they hit. So, I mean, you could do that. I took my wife out to play with some friends and, when you're new, you don't really know all the rules, but, she was kind of talking in people's swings and stuff. But again, it was just a friendly round. And I did tell her like, hey, I know everyone's cool here, which it didn't matter because we were just having fun and hitting the ball. And I said, just in case when we start playing with other people or maybe more seriously, you don't want to talk in their backswing. And she was like, oh, well, okay. She's like, well, thanks for telling me. And it is funny again with those unwritten rules, you forget, or at least I forget to tell people when they're starting out. about those little things, right? And it's kind of funny once you see them do it, then you're like, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to tell you, um, don't talk in the backswing or don't step in their line or, what was another one? Um, I don't think. Oh yeah, and she didn't know like you could when not to drive onto the fairway or where around the green, right? They have the cart signs luckily, but she she just didn't know like she could go on the actual grass, and I was like, oh, that's true. I never really thought about that. So I probably didn't do my best on explaining the unwritten rules. Maybe I should have her watch my very first episode or second episode with Rich where we talked about the unwritten rules. Um, so, but yeah, it was nice to get her out there, and it was the first time she had fun. She had some pretty good shots out there, so we just did a little fun scramble style, so that way you don't have to really worry about where you're hitting. So, um, but yeah, if it's a money game and still with your friends, you're probably going to lose those friends, or at least the golf part of them. So, question number moving on? What is your biggest golf pet peeve? I mean, this one it says like you know, say like people who like just shave strokes, especially only if you are playing a money game or a betting game and you shave strokes here and there. That I don't, that's a pet peeve. But if you do it for your own score, I don't care because it's your own score. But and then slow play doesn't really bother me either. Hmm. I'd really have to think about this one. I mean, I'm a pretty relaxed guy. I don't really get mad. I do think when people are like, I would say a pet peeve of mine is if, oh yeah, so if people are on your ass and they continuously are on your ass and there's no way for you to go, then that pisses me off. That's one. And then the other day we played and we were with a group and we were playing slower and I get it, but at the turn we went to go grab hot dogs and I knew because these guys were on our ass all day. And I knew they were going to try to jump us, which is fine. I get it. But at least like ask or like, hey, do you guys mind? Or because usually if someone's playing slow and you ask, do you mind if we play through? They're not going to. I mean, I've never had anyone say no, but, and they just jumped in front of us and didn't say anything, just hit off, just all hit, didn't say anything, didn't barely even look back because they knew. And I was just waiting. And if they just said, oh, hey, do you guys mind if we play through? Um, I'd be like, sure, go ahead. But they didn't say anything. I was kind of ticked off. And then I was going to say something, but my playing partner was like, nah, don't worry about it. I'm like, yeah, you're right. It's not worth it. Right. I mean, I'm also a de-escalator and I don't want to be fighting or, I don't know, having words on the golf course. It's not going to be a fun day. And then you're thinking about it for the rest of the 9 holes, especially at the turn. So I was like, it's not worth it. So, um, yeah, I would say that is one like pace of play in the sense of someone's hitting into you or just isn't just they're not respectful, especially if there's it's slow in front of you and you can't go anywhere. That's what I don't like. So but other than that, I mean, I don't think there's much on the course that I can get upset with because I'm pretty chill. I don't, you know um unless you're blatantly cheating, I don't know. But yeah, no, I think everything's good to go on that. I really don't have any. Let me know if you guys have any huge pet peeves. I'm sure there's some out there. I know a lot of slow play or shrink the game guys because after COVID it really blew up. So or golf did, and there's a lot of people out there who maybe didn't know the unwritten rules or just started playing or started going out in twilight and hitting the ball around and really still don't know rules. Until they either play with someone who does or just plays in a tournament. Which if they're just playing to go out and drink and hit some balls, and they're not playing tournaments anyway. But yeah, let me know if you have any pet peeves that you'd like to share or you'd like me to comment on here. And then one of the last questions I have, it says, If you could play around one round anywhere with any three people, where and who? Hmm. That is a good one that I never really thought about. I would say if you would have asked me when I was a kid, I would have wanted to play with um, Tiger, Phil, and probably Bobby Jones. I know it's a random one, but he just has like such good. I remember Bobby Jones. I watched his how he learned how to swing actually, because I'm a elder millennial. I'm an older millennial, and we didn't have YouTube for most part growing up, or at least in high school. I couldn't even like record my swing, so it was all feel. I really, I didn't have a coach. I mean, we had a golf coach, but I didn't have a personal golf coach who could show me things, and um, so I watched Golf Channel a lot for the infomercials or for the lesson. They had lessons on Golf Channel, if you could believe that. They maybe still do, but I just don't watch it. But yeah, on Golf Channel, and there was a Bobby Jones segment, and he was just kind of taught his swing and taught, he said even, and I think him and just my natural swing, I was okay with, kind of, I go past parallel with my swing. I mean, if you've seen any of the matches here, you can see that. And that's when I realized, okay, your swing is your swing. Like, don't try to change that. Don't try to shorten it. That's how I can get so much power. And he said that's one way he would get more power is he'd go past parallel. I think he called it, um, uh, I don't know what he called it, but anyway, you go past parallel, and that's how he get more power and more whip. And him, and then Phil Mickelson, I learned how to hit a draw in I just read, I read in a magazine, I think Golf Digest or I don't know, whatever it was back then. And I read in a magazine how to hit a draw and kind of get the more rounded swing as opposed to really steep. So yeah, I mean, that's how I learned how to hit things. I read and then I went out and tried it. And um, yeah. And I'm sure if I had a video, if I could have recorded myself, or if I could have, watched YouTube, anything like that, I think I would have progressed a lot quicker just because I'm a feel person. And if I can see things, then I just feel a lot better, um, about it. Like if I can see how I felt, if I can see it and remember how I felt, then I can fix things. And I think it just would have helped me. But yeah, back in the day, I watched Bobby Jones. So, I think dead or alive, it'd be that. If you ask me now, it might still be the same. The only one I would change or would be maybe change would be Phil Mickelson, only because um, I don't know, his reputation's kind of gone down, but I think he's trying to come back with Grant. Um, yeah, that's another one too. If it was like YouTube based, that would be cool to play with Grant, um, Garrett, and I don't know, Bryson, I guess. But and then what course? I mean, it's still Pebble. I mean, yeah, Pebble Beach. One I think too because I can actually play that one. Um, and then maybe one of the courses in St. Andrews. But yeah, I mean, it's right now it's Pebble Beach. So until I can play that one and move on to another dream course, then I'll work on that one. So uh, or you could play it like Empire Ranch and see how they do. Right? They probably whip around that course like nothing. Maybe the putting would be because when we did play Empire last week, it was really like so many ball marks, pitch marks, whatever you call them, on the green. Oh man, it was beat up by the end of the day. I hope they roll those things every night, or at least I don't know in the morning. Maybe it just gets kind of a little bit rolled when they mow it. But yeah, it was really interesting to see that they they were so beat up by the end of the day. I don't think I've ever played and we were second to last off, and I don't think I've ever played like that before. At the end of the day, and yeah, it was um, pretty tore up, but it was still a fun round. So anyway, yeah, that's who I would play with. Um, didn't really change, I guess. Yeah. I would play with Tiger. Yeah, Tiger Phil and Bobby Jones. And I'm sure I'd learn a lot and have some fun and probably shoot the lowest score I've ever shot. So, all right. Well, that kind of wraps up my Q&A session. Quick episode here. I don't really have anything else for you guys. I mean, if there's anything you have a question about or just want my opinion on, let me know. I'll always give my opinion. It could be wrong, could be right. It just could be dumb and you totally disagree, which is okay because, golf is different for everyone and everyone has a different perspective, different experience. And that's why I love golf. And that's why I love doing this. And, the last thing I will say is that, for everyone that's kind of been watching or listening and watching along and been along with me for this journey, I just realized that today, when this comes out, it'll be different. But today, it's been 1 year since we launched our first episode. July 1st, 2024 was when the podcast was inception of the game one loves forever, and we're still doing it. And I have high hopes for the next 12 months and going into the end of 2025. I think it'll be fun. Maybe we get out on the course, record a few, and just appreciate everyone who has been on the podcast, everyone who, the guests, you guys are great. Thank you for coming on. Everyone who's watching, listening, thank you for all the support. Thank you, X Golf here, that we can film. And I keep saying we because I feel like it's a collective of my guest, myself, everyone listening. When we get on the course, guys that I'm playing with, I feel like that's why I say we, because maybe they don't come on the podcast, but I use the stories, I use those instances, I use the experience to kind of come on here and talk about it. So, and that's what I love about it too, is like every day there's something new to talk about in golf, whether it's, a new format or, something that happened to you, the greatest shot ever, the worst shot ever. I read something that said you never have the same shot twice. I mean, maybe a dry, maybe you have the same shot in the sense of you tee off from the same area, but that drive, I mean, I don't know if I've ever had a drive that's been exactly the same ever. So it's true. And that's why we love it. That's why we, want to come back and get better. And even though it kicks our butt, we come back. So just like this podcast, sometimes it kicks my butt and sometimes, I may not have something to talk about or maybe I don't have a guest, but, I still love it and I still want to see this thing succeed. And so I want to say thank you to everyone who's been watching, listening. I know it's repeating myself here, but, I'm just excited for year 2. 365 days, I've learned a lot and we'll just keep kicking and hopefully we'll get some more guests on, some new guests, and who knows where it'll take us. So, all right, thanks guys. Thank you for listening. This is, it's been a fun year and I'm not going anywhere. So just keep listening. I'm trying to get episodes out every week, but if not, at least get 1 or 2 a month. So just keep listening and let me know what you guys think. All right. We will see you next time. And thanks for watching and peace.